Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about two new updates made to Warhammer 40,000. One of them appeared on the Warhammer community page, and the other one I don't think it did, at least not that I could see. There are two files that you could download here, the Balanced Data Slate and the Content Validity updates. Both, if you'll notice, were updated today, 4/20. So taking a look at this one, the Balanced Data Slate, this is just making a few changes to numerous factions, actually. They're designed to make them more competitive. So, for example, one of my main factions, one I'm really working on right now, Death Guard, the Terminators, we've gained Objective Secured, which is nice. Not a huge boost, but it does give them a little bit more utility. Also, the Armor of Contempt rule, this is very neat. I'm excited to see what happens there. We got a small nerf with our Plague Burst Crawlers with the indirect fire weapons. Nothing huge, though. Overall, this has been well received by the community. Anytime they take a real quick glance with the rules, especially after major tournaments, and they see, wow, this one faction is overperforming and these factions are underperforming, they make small tweaks. This is free. This is excellent. Excellent stuff. And it happens pretty quick, too, which is great. My other factions, Tau Empire, apparently they got quite the nerf. I have yet to play them in 9th edition. So I'm not really sure one way or the other what that was like for them. But everything else looks pretty much on point. There was a little bit of consternation, I think, regarding some of these changes, but there always is, right? Someone finds something to complain about. So overall, this is good. The Balanced Data Slate, that gets 2 thumbs up for me. Now, the Psychic Awakening faction updates and the campaign books and flashpoints updates. So these 2 pages are designed to answer the question, which of our way too many books that we've published have valid rules, and which ones now do you have to use the codex? And I love their phrasing here, recommended. You can still use it, just not in match play. Okay, right. So this is just, I want to reference a conversation that we've had earlier on the channel, where I bring up some of the things I don't like about Warhammer right now. And the biggest thing is they keep selling you books. They sell you books over and over and over again. Books that are maybe 120 pages, less than that usually. And it might contain some different mission types, might contain a bunch of fluff, but it contains also like 1 or 2 pages of rules. Now here's the thing. Those 1 or 2 pages of rules, while that's not a huge change to whichever faction the rules are for, it often introduces things that are nice to have. Things that you can bring into match play games. Things that you would just like to have. If you're a collector of the army, you like to own all of the content that comes with it. So as a Tau Empire collector, I wanted to buy Psychic Awakening, The Greater Good. I wasn't playing very much at that time, but even though I wasn't, I just was a fan, so I wanted to buy it. Now, I've mentioned this before. I own, I think, 4 or 5 factions I have a hard time keeping up. And then I own several armies for Age of Sigmar. So the rate that they come out with these books is very fast, and they often are only valid for a short amount of time. In my past videos, I was referencing a lot of things with codexes, or codices as the proper term, and rule books, and some of these, campaign supplements. We sort of have a bit of a new issue, though, introduced with all of this. So obviously, Psychic Awakening, this is over and done with. This is 8th edition rules, okay? But campaign books and flashpoints, okay? If you take a look here, you'll notice that everything is good. Warzone, Caradon, Act 1, Book of Rust, that's fine. Book of Fire, that's fine. Octarius 2, Nachman, Vigilus, those are all fine. But if you look at Warzone Octarius 1 and the White Dwarf articles here, you'll notice that there are 6 elements of rules that are missing. Now, this happens. Company comes out with a book, rules are either bad or outdated, and you get rid of them. That's not what's happening here. Warzone Octarius 1 came out just a few months ago. Okay, I think it was like November, somewhere in that neighborhood. I might be wrong on that, but It's somewhere in the fall. And it's already outdated. I think it was 55 days is what I saw somewhere. I'll have to look that up. If you know it, put it in the comments below. Long and short of it, though, these books were outdated a few months after they were released. People are paying $60 for these books to get rules. Now, people are like, well, you don't need these books to play it. That's true, you don't. But guess what? If you were Tyranids before the Codex, you needed these to have a good time. To play the game and not get smashed. Same thing, you get the Crusher Stampede here, Army Renown. And then Psychic Awakening for the Death Watch and the Harlequins. There's an update there. Well, that's gone now. Okay? That's not that big a deal. I want to look at these Tyranid things that have been outdated already. So if anyone bought Warzone Octarius 1, I hate to tell you, but half of your book's already invalid. Unless you play Inquisition, which who does? Cadia, Fortifications, Kill Team Strike Force. I mean, this book is coming out soon. Once that book comes out, that's not going to be valid anymore. Chaos Space Marines here in Act 2 of Warzone Caradon. Once their codex come out, not valid anymore. Free Blade Lance, you better believe that's not going to be valid anymore. House Raven, that's not going to be valid anymore. I'm surprised that some of these are still valid. I think we're going to see them change too. We're probably going to see a Space Marine 2.0 codex in the next year or so. And I also want to draw your attention to this little detail. Valid until June 2023, valid until January 2023. So that's a year from now. What are they planning on? Is this edition over already? Are they going to release 10th edition here? Because this is insane. So if you bought any of these books, I feel sorry. I feel sad for you. I feel bad for you. It's not your fault. You thought you were buying something for your army. You thought it was going to be nice. You thought you were going to expand your capabilities in the faction and add to your collection. And I hate to rake it to you, but your book's already worthless if you bought Warzone Octarius 1. And like I said, it's a matter of time for the others. So why do I say all this? I had someone ask me the other day, boy, you complain a lot about the direction that the game's going in. Are you still playing it? Well, I haven't been playing it in 9th edition. With the release of Tempest of War, I decided to try out a few games. Here's the thing, though. As long as they keep releasing rules within these books that become invalidated within a few, weeks, a couple of months after you buy it, I won't be playing this game in any competitive sense. I'm not going to tournaments. If this is the kind of thing that they're doing, this is ridiculous. And there's no reason. 2 pages of rules. No reason they couldn't put this out like they do the balanced data slate. This is free for them. I get it. They're not making any money. But this is charging their customers $60 for something that is not going to even be valid in a few months. And, you know, I bet if we had their PR people here, they'd say, well, COVID, right? They'd blame COVID. Well, COVID didn't make you sell us a book without telling us it wasn't going to be worth anything. Right? And this, like, I get it. But, what was this, 2019 for some of this stuff? 3 years? You know, like you buy 2 books. You want to collect all the rules for a faction. You buy 2 books per faction. And like these came at the end of an edition. Right? So some of these were irrelevant as soon as the new edition came out. Adeptus Astartes, right? Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Grey Knights. Oh, sorry, Grey Knights came later. Blood Angels and Dark Angels, they came out, though, at the beginning of the 9th edition. Same thing with Death Watch. So they put this stuff out. A few months later, new edition, it's invalid, right? This is not a practice that I like. And I get that they're trying to make money. And I get that they're making money because people are buying it. I totally get it. But I understand why people are buying it. I'm not frustrated at people who buy it. Because if I was a Tyranids collector, I'd be buying this book. Especially if I didn't have a new codex. Totally would be. So, what's the solution to this? Well, I think Games Workshop needs to really take a look at their system for books and for releasing rules. I don't have a problem paying money for rules, but I do have a problem paying money for rules that aren't going to matter in less than a year. I have a big problem with that. A $60 book times 4 armies, $240. What happens if all my books are invalid after a year? I just flushed $240 down the toilet. And I think there's a lot of people today who are feeling like they just flushed $60 down the toilet here. I know I would be. So anyway, all that to say, this guy's not falling. I still love Warhammer, and I will still collect it. Will I play it? Maybe with some friends over some beers, but not in the store with a tournament. This is insane. I'm not willing to keep up with this, and I think a lot of people feel the same way I do. But regardless, whether you liked what I said or not, make sure you leave a comment and engage with me. I don't have a problem with people telling me I'm wrong. So if you think I'm wrong, tell me about it. We can chat. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe please, and hit the bell for notifications so you know when I upload the next video. As always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Take care.